Welcome back to the Super Memory for Schools program. My name is Wing Yu. Today we will continue the lesson in Unit 16 in the Grade 10 English program with a very important grammar point is comparison. We have two comparison types. The first is comparatives and the second one is superlatives. In comparatives, there are two cases, long adjectives and short adjectives. Now let's learn about each part specifically. The first part in our today's lesson is to learn about comparatives. So it will be divided into two cases. There are short adjectives and long adjectives. So what is a short adjective? It just has one syllable. For example, big, nice, tall, old, cheap, thin, fat. They are called short adjectives. We will add the ending er into these adjectives. Examples: big changes into bigger, nice, nicer, tall, taller, old, older, cheap, cheaper, thin, thinner, fat, fatter. Please remember, with short adjectives, we just need to add the ending er to change into comparatives. I have an example in this sentence. They want to compare between a new restaurant and an old one. And the adjective bright means shining. The meaning of the sentence is that the new restaurant is brighter than the old one. Because bright is a short adjective and has one syllable, so I will add the ending er. And my answer is, the new restaurant is brighter than the old one. So how about long adjectives? Long adjectives are adjectives that have two or more syllables. Examples: comfortable, careful, famous, attractive, important, and so on. These are long adjectives. We will add more before them. Examples: comfortable changes into more comfortable, careful, more careful, famous, more famous, attractive, more attractive, important, more important. I have an example. The new restaurant is than the old one. In this sentence, we continue to compare between a new restaurant and an old one, but the adjective here is comfortable. Comfortable is a long adjective because it has two or more syllables, and I will put more before this adjective. And my answer is, the new restaurant is more comfortable than the old one. Besides long adjectives and short adjectives that we have just learned about, there are special cases. The comparative form of good is better. The comparative form of bad is worse. The comparative form of far is further or farther. Please note. In addition, you should remember one more thing. Modifying comparatives. And to modify comparatives, I will add much or far before comparatives. What is modifying comparative? Now look at examples to learn more. First, do you remember the example that we have just done? The new restaurant is brighter than the old one. If I want to emphasize that the new restaurant is brighter than the old one, more and more many times, I will apply the above formation by adding much or far before comparative. And my answer is, the new restaurant is much brighter than the old one. Or the new restaurant is far brighter than the old one. It is called modifying comparative. The second example, the new restaurant is more comfortable than the old one. If I want to modify comparative, that the new restaurant is more comfortable than the old one more and more many times, I will add much or far before comparative, and I have the sentence, the new restaurant is much more comfortable than the old one, or the new restaurant is far more comfortable than the old one. And the structure is called modifying comparatives. So we have just talked about the comparatives. And now let's move on to the superlatives. Same as comparatives, superlatives will be divided into long adjectives and short adjectives. Short adjectives are adjectives that have one syllable. For example, big, nice, tall, old, cheap, and so on. To do superlatives, instead of adding the ending er, we would change the ending er into est. I have examples. Big changes into biggest. Nice, nicest. Tall, tallest. Old, oldest. Cheap, cheapest. Thin, thinnest. Fast, fastest. I have an example. He is person I know. And the adjective here is rich, so we can understand the meaning of this sentence. He is the richest person I know. Rich is a short adjective. And to change into superlative, I will add the ending est to the last, and my answer is, he is the richest person I know. Now we're heading into long adjectives. Long adjectives are adjectives that have two or more syllables. I have an example, comfortable, careful, famous, attractive, important, and so on. To change into superlatives, we will add the most. Comfortable changes into the most comfortable. Careful changes into the most careful. Famous, the most famous. Attractive, the most attractive. Important, the most important. An example, you are friend I've ever had, and the adjective here is wonderful. The meaning of the sentence is, you are the most wonderful friend I've ever had. Wonderful is a long adjective, so to change into superlative, I will add the most before it. And my answer is, you are the most wonderful friend I've ever had. Same as comparatives, superlatives also have special cases. I have examples. The comparative form of good is better. When changing into superlative, it will be the best. Comparative of bad is worse. When changing into superlative, it will be the worst. And how about far? Comparative of far is farther or further. When changing into superlatives, it will be the furthest or the farthest. Please note. We just learned about comparatives and superlatives and special cases of them. Now we move on to the exercises to practice this grammar point.